content of what I'm streaming. I'm being arrested for breach of the peace. Being arrested for breach of the peace. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. Can you get me a solicitor? Can you get me a solicitor?
Can you just turn off your live feed?
Can you get me a solicitor?
Just turn off your live feed, please.
Yeah?
Do you understand what I've just said?
No, can you explain it again?
Arrested on suspicion causing a breach of the peace.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean, officer?
One question subject to email.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
I've been told that under the police
Not at all, I've never said that.
That's the information I've got.
I'm inciting people. I'm inciting
through his
people.
video and
How have I incited
he
people?
hasn't.
This is free speech. This is where we're at. You're not even allowed to. Look at this.
Look how many people.
No matter what you try and hide. Do you know when you do this?
These are normal working men.
More people.
Really sharp things are lights.
Just let them do this.
More people are going to watch this now than ever. This is ridiculous, lads. Do you feel right what you're doing it? I haven't said a word. In fact, someone laid their hand and assaulted me outside court.
Yeah, exactly.
Other people have swore at me and threatened me about my mother, and here I am being arrested for saying nothing.
I'm threatened to behead
I've done
me.
nothing.
You've not said anything about
What are they arresting you for, Tommy?
Breach of the peace. Apparently, I'm inciting on my video. Can you please, George, get me a solicitor?
Yeah.
Because I'm on a suspended sentence, you see. So
He has actually done nothing wrong.
You can sort anything like that.
All it would take is for you to go through his video and see he's not. He's even said they're innocent till they're proven guilty.
It must have been right. Come on.
Shameful that.
It's disgusting, isn't it?
Hello and welcome to this video. This is an update regarding Tommy Robinson. I want to talk about him and tell you about some of the information I've have to hand, but please take the information with a pinch of salt. A lot of the information I've got is from Caelan Robinson, apparently Tommy Robinson's right hand man, cameraman, computer whiz, you name it. He's supposed to be his more or less spokesman. But because I think he fell out with Ezra Levant, owner of Rebel Media, it's possible that some of this information is made up and not true. Obviously, Tommy Robinson was sent to prison within 5 hours. We all know that. So, to go from arrested to court to prison in 5 hours, based on some of the research I've done, it suggests it could have been 8 hours. But it does seem to me that was quite quick. The fact he didn't have access to his own lawyer doesn't seem like justice to me. Don't forget that these alleged rapists, right, had months to prepare a defence with their lawyer. And they would have had a lot of support, might have even had legal aid. So, you've got to ask, why were they given such huge amount of time, and yet Tommy Robinson is just reporting on it and he gets sent down like that? It's not really fair. Anyway, let's go back to the information we have to hand. So, Caelan suggests that Tommy Robinson has been moved from a prison in or near Leeds called HMP Hull and moved potentially to a prison called Honley, which I've looked into is actually in Warwickshire, or a prison in Leicester. Looking at Leicester details, where it's been suggested that it's got a Muslim population of 71%. What I found is it's possibly closer to 7.3%. There is the possibility, however, that there is a wing which is largely Muslim, and Tommy Robinson has been put in that wing. That would be highly subjective and dangerous for Tommy, and questionable by anyone with a sane mind. So if Tommy Robinson's had a phone call with Caelan and told him that his wing is largely Muslim, it's very possible. It doesn't necessarily mean the whole prison is Muslim, it just means that small wing that is in may have a large Muslim population. If they've done that on purpose, it's quite obvious that it's an attempt to try and get him killed, for definite. because if he's gone to a different prison for other reasons, maybe it's because it's nearer where he lives, nearer to his family. That's always a possibility. To be fairer to his wife. Why wouldn't they put him in the other wing? Well, that's something you need to decide for yourself. Anyway, Ezra Levant of Rebel Media has given us an update, so I'll just reiterate what he said. An appeal has been logged. Finally, Tommy Robinson's family's decided to get some decent lawyers. I don't know why they've waited so long. It seems a bit odd. Surely if you're going to log an appeal, you do it literally on the first day. So, Tommy Robinson has an appeal date for a court hearing on the 10th of July. It's very interesting, this date. Think about that date. 10th of July. Now there is a large march planned on the 14th of July. So it seems quite coincidental that his hearing is before that march. So it's very possible that the elites are trying to figure out maybe they've done the wrong thing here, and if they can have that hearing quickly enough, hopefully that march won't go ahead. And that's a possibility. So you could say that some of the demonstrations in the world, including the one that happened on the 9th of June, where there was over 20,000 people attending, did have an impact. Although I really wish Parliament would discuss it openly in the Prime Minister questions, and someone actually openly be strong enough to ask the question. Right, so that's the update so far. If you wish to support Tommy Robinson, here's the link. You know, feel free to donate if you wish to support his cause of getting justice, and it's very possible he may get bail. So we'll wait and see what happens. Hopefully we'll have some good news soon. Secondly, I want to discuss some comments I've received where some people have said he got what he deserved. It's very possible that some of the alleged rapists in the third case that was due to start in maybe 2 to 3 months, that may be connected to the second court case that Tommy Robinson attended. If that's the case, I can completely understand why he's been arrested and charged with contempt of court. And I just want to make this argument quite balanced. While I do support Tommy Robinson in regards to where I think he's got the right for freedom of speech to try and highlight these cases, I do feel that it's very possible that what he was doing could be jeopardising that third case. Now, I just want to state that and give a balanced argument to that. And if that's the case, and some of those children would have got justice or could have their cases invalidated because of Tommy Robinson's actions, then it's probably right that he was arrested. I do think he should have had the right to see his lawyer and had some time to come up with a defence. And then, if he were found guilty after that, fair enough. I hold my hands up and say, right, fine, he's done wrong, and he should have gone to prison. Now, he was on a suspended sentence, so that would have a degree of influence on the decision. But I do think the fact that he didn't have access to his lawyer was wrong, and it isn't democratic. In a democratic society, you should have certain rights and not have your freedom of free speech to be subjugated by the state. So I do feel in that respect he should have followed due process, and he should have at least had some form of bail. I do feel that he should have had the opportunity to have bail, so he had access to his own lawyer. Let's talk about the other side of the coin. So what happened to Tommy Robinson was right. He should have been arrested. He should have been sent to prison. He should have had his mouth shut, and he shouldn't have done what he did. Well, you might have a case for that opinion, based on the grounds that if there was a third case due to be held, and some of the people from the first and second case would be judged in the third case, you have a point, and I hold my hands up and say, okay, fair cop. And if that would affect the judgment of those children in the third case, Tommy has done wrong and he shouldn't have done it. But you've got to ask yourself what he did, right? Does 13 months justify what he did? Is it balanced in regards to what he's done? Because if you look at what other people have done, where other people have broken the rules and committed contempt of court, where they might have just spent 4 months in prison, or some people have even been let off completely and just told not to do it again. You know, there's one particular case where a woman had broken the court rules 26 times and only got sentenced 4 months. And yet Tommy, he's just filming himself talking about this court case going off. The only thing I think he shouldn't have done was film the faces of the Muslims. I think what would have been a good idea for him would have been to film it, you know, record it, but not make it live, take it home, pixelate the people's faces going into court, and then that will hide their identity, and then what he was doing would be completely kosher. And I think that's probably what he should have done, because this is what a lot of media companies do. You know, they hide the identity until the actual conclusion of the case had happened. You see, what a lot of people are not realising in this case is, what a lot of people are not understanding in this case is, these alleged paedophiles had already been found guilty. The judge was deciding what sentence to give to them. But Nigel Farage doesn't like to talk about Tommy, because what Nigel Farage, when he ran UKIP, didn't like anyone from BNP in his actual organisation. Now that seems very undemocratic to me, because just because someone has beliefs you don't like, you can't just kick them out. Just imagine if you kicked out tons of people out of the country because you don't like their views on immigration. It's not very democratic. Just because someone has a view you don't like doesn't mean you can just kick them out of the country, or your party, or your organisation, because it makes you look like a Nazi, a racist, an Islamophobe. It makes you appear to be a dictator. So no, that's just something I just wanted to point out, that I think Nigel Farage needs to open his mind a little bit to Tommy's case and look at all the facts. I encourage everyone to look at Ezri Levant's videos on Tommy Robinson and his assessment in regards to other similar cases of contempt of court. And while he feels what happened to Tommy was wrong, and I concur with his assessment.